Well, I just got through with the demo today at Village Motorsports in Unionville, Virginia, Uniontown, on Constitution Highway, and it was sunny, bright when it wasn't threatening to rain. You can see the clouds are mixed there. Times they were slightly more dense, and times they were, I think it's about the best weather so far that we've had. Interesting ride. Rode the GSX-R 600 as the baseline. Then I rode the SV650. I was convinced to ride it basically by all the talk about it on various YouTube channels. While it's not an outstanding bike, certainly a good value for the money, and having some experience with the Ducatis, I decided to give it a shot. Let me turn this off here. And it was interesting. It was a nice bike, good power, a decent power band, decent torque and all, and decent handling. Not bad at all. Certainly, I think a decent commuter bike. And then I rode the little 250 they have. That's a Ninja 250 clone, which I thought, while it was standing still, was even better than the SV650. It certainly had a better feel to it, more solid. Suspension was definitely more sporty, more taut, and decent seating position, a little bit more lean forward than the SV650. And then I started to actually move it. Let me put it to you this way. I guess this could be the summary that I would make for it. You see that little straight going up the hill there where that white car is passing, going up the hill now? This straight is somewhat notorious because it passes right in front of the dealership to the right, and a lot of times in these demos you see guys coming in there, they'll either wreck coming down here to stop at the turn, or do a burnout or something stupid going up the hill. And so I was the last rider in the group on that bike, on the 250, and basically everyone else left me right there going up the hill. It took me until I got well up there past where that car is now going up the hill to catch up to everybody else. They weren't really going fast. The bike is just really slow to accelerate, and you know, I thought the Ninja 300 was slow. This bike was maybe about, you know, a little bit slower. Definitely geared short as hell. Just zipped right through first gear. On the ride, I ended up not even using first gear after halfway through the ride. It was just too short to deal with, and I spent a lot of my time on the first couple of acceleration sections looking at the tachometer instead of looking at the road, which wasn't good at all. But staying in second, third, fourth, fifth gear, you know, you kind of can deal with it as a very straightforward stand-up commuter bike. I think not at all for acceleration, but it does run 55, 65, even 70 miles an hour. I think the fastest it could go would be about 75. And you know, while you're sitting up, it does cruise okay. I think the bike really doesn't come until its own until you're cruising down the road, trying to hold speed basically, and then it does that very well. And I could see getting 80 miles a gallon, maybe 90. That bike would have a very good application as a cruising bike, highway miles cruising bike, especially on these two-lane kind of back roads with virtually no wind and no real need to go fast. It does that very well. It's priced very aggressively, and that is what that bike is good for, and pretty much little, if anything else, except maybe riding around on a very slow back road where where you don't have to accelerate much. That bike would be okay for that. And I say that the price is good, price is low and everything, but you still lose so much in the first bit of acceleration, you know, for the first 30 seconds of accelerating. But if you ignore that, the bike is, you know, okay. The brakes are not really strong at all. It's really geared short all the way through the gearbox. Sixth gear, you know, I'm running 8,000 RPM at 65 miles an hour. But if you're just carrying speed, you just want to do something better than walking, that bike is very good for that. It does okay. I like the SV650 as an all-arounder. It was very nice to ride. even, you know, accelerating, had decent speed, decent gearing, decent handling. I just thought the one that I was riding had been banged around a lot, and it didn't have quite the, you know, new bike feel that you really want to have. And the Gixxer 600 was, you know, pretty much the Gixxer 600. Nice bike. Makes a lot of noise and not a lot of acceleration until you get to about 6,000 RPM, and it starts to make some power and accelerate. I mean, it will move even at the lower RPMs, but it's much more noise than punch. And a good bike, I would think, for someone to start on for that reason. It just doesn't have much power, but it will go fast. It will move, and it's certainly decent above 6, 7, 8,000 RPM. It will definitely move. The bike is not incapable of going fast. It just is not, you know, a real powerhouse, but it certainly will move. So that's really my summary. I really would like to take some shots of the roads going back to show you why I think a 650 would be plenty bike for riding on these roads. The 250, I think, really struggles. It can do it, but it's not like it's comfortable doing it. And the 600, 650 would probably be enough, a good bike to have just for riding around on these roads. You know, speed limit 55, 65 miles an hour. It's perfectly adequate for that. Not like you need a lot more bike than that. And if the Ninja 300 is enough bike to ride, you know, for some people, then certainly a 600 is a little bit overkill. But I would definitely want to get more, you know, a little bit more overkill than a lot less than I want. Let's put it that way. I'd rather go for the 600, spend a little extra money, than save $2,000 or $3,000 and get a 250 or 300 that just will not accelerate and is only good for cruising. Really only good in terms of saving gas, and really only good in terms of just being slightly better than actually riding a bicycle. But I got to mount my camera somehow to get some good shots of the road and to get an idea. And I really want to take some other shots of other roads anyway, like 81 heading up into New York State, which is a really nice road, but a lot of it's very flat, very cruisy. You know, you can see forever, but you're pretty much going to be limited to 70 miles an hour, maybe 80 miles an hour. I don't think a 250 or 300 is really the kind of bike that you want to ride 80 miles an hour at all. But I don't think that you need a leader bike for that kind of riding either. And maybe 750 at the most, 650, 500, something like that would be fine for an all-arounder bike for most riding, most of the time. I can certainly see that. And we really have to start to wonder why we need bigger, faster bikes than that, that aren't even really comfortable to ride and certainly are uncomfortable to pay for. But I can certainly see the argument that 75% of the time you want more than a 300. No question about it.